All right. Good morning. Welcome to the American Heart Association's Cooking with Heart for Active Adults, brought to you by Aetna Medicare Solutions. My name is Corinne Kleinschmidt, and I am the Vice President of Health for Greater Phoenix American Heart Association, and we're excited to bring this digital experience to you via Zoom. For those of you unfamiliar with Zoom, I'll take a moment before we begin to kind of go over some tips on how to participate and to ask questions during the session. When you join the call, you were given a main event window, and when you click on chat, a chat window will be added to your view. The slide here shows a picture of what it would look like, and then if you want to remove the chat window, if it's in the way, you just click on that chat again. When you have the chat window open, you can type in responses and questions, and you get to choose who those messages go to. We would like you to choose all panelists and attendees. That way your message is going to be seen by everybody. You can choose to just send to the host or the presenters if you need assistance, but when you're making comments and having questions and whatnot, please send it to that all panelists and attendees option. So I hope you're feeling a little more confident. Let us do a little test of the chat. Open up your chat box and then type in the answer to this question. What is your favorite holiday dessert?
Cheesecake.
Wow, I see. So Anne likes cheesecake. Allison, oh, pumpkin pie. A lot of folks like pumpkin pie. That is very true. Oh, cobbler pie. I see several of you are posting to still all panelists. If you please select all panelists and attendees, that way everyone else can see. Pumpkin pie seems to be winning, right, Jan?
Yeah, or sweet potato pie, pecan pie, pie.
Yes, I was gonna say the holidays, it really is a pie time, right?
Ooh, key lime, yay.
Yeah.
Sugar cookies.
All right.
Cherry pie.
All right, and that's perfect. So
Anything sweet.
Remember to check who the two is and to select that all panelists and attendees, okay? All right. All right. Oh, apple pie a la mode, of course. I was gonna say add in some ice cream, and that always makes everything taste a little bit better, right? Well, great, Anne. Thanks for getting your chat box going. As we get started, I'd like to give a special thanks to our sponsor, Aetna Medicare Solutions, for making the event possible. We're so excited to work with them on this project. They are a champion for heart health and for seniors. So to share a few words about Aetna Medicare Solutions and introduce us to our chef, I'd like to present Maureen Zurcher.
Thank you so much, Corinne. We're so excited to support this cooking series and bring heart-healthy cooking tips to you. Again, my name is Maureen Zurcher. I'm the local Arizona field sales representative for Aetna Medicare Solutions. And right now I'm offering Medicare one-on-one educational events. And I'd love for you to join me. So if you're interested, you can reach me at my email on the screen there. My last name, ZurcherM@Aetna.com. I would love for you to join us. It just kind of teaches you the ins and outs of Medicare Part A and Part B. So we have a great recipe for you today. A favorite holiday dessert, the apple bread pudding. Yum. And yes, it can actually be a healthy dessert. And we're going to show you how. So how everybody knows, the holidays present all kinds of problems for those who are trying to eat healthy. Got parties, family gatherings, comfort food, cultural traditions, and all of those are filled with sweets and desserts. So today we have a chef who is going to give us some tips on how to enjoy the holidays and not give up on our favorite desserts. So I'd love to welcome Chef Jan Diatri. Jan is an Emmy-winning household name here in Phoenix for both her 40-year career in television and her culinary endeavors. We're so happy to have you here with us today, Jan.
Oh, thank you so much. It sounds like we've got a lot of sweet tooth lovers with chatting with us today. So that's really cool. You know, we were talking before we went live just about how strange this holiday season is, and that we're making decisions right now whether we want to, whether we can gather with our families and whether we should stay safe at home. And, you know, we want to continue to carry those traditions on. And of course, we've got to have the traditional foods for Thanksgiving. But this bread pudding was really a surprise because it's something that's so delicious. It's going to keep you on track if you're trying to lose weight or you want to stay fit. So I'm very excited about it. Of course, I was cooking with my mama. She's 92 years old. She is just the love of my life, and she's such a great gourmet chef. She had a very famous restaurant in Lake Tahoe, so she's got a great taste for good recipes as well. So we're excited to be sharing this recipe with you today.
Thank you so much, Jan. So we're going to start by watching the video that Jan and Mama recorded earlier. As the video plays, please type any questions or comments you have into the chat box. Remember to please send them to the all panelists and attendees option. After the video, I'll read the questions to Jan, and we can also have more questions at the end as well. So type in questions and comments anytime as the video plays. Also, as we play the video, we're going to have our audio on to the highest, loudest setting. So if you need louder or quieter, please adjust the audio on your device so that it is perfect for you. And then also at the end of the session, we're going to send an email with the full recipe as well as a link to the full recording of this session. So you're welcome to take some notes, but don't worry if you miss something or you didn't get the exact measurement. All of that will be available after the session. So with that, let's take a look and learn how to make some apple bread pudding.
Now, before we get cooking, you got to wash your hands, get rid of all those germs. And so you want to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. And so, Mama, you know what we could do? We could sing.
Oh, absolutely.
So how about happy birthday? That's about 20 seconds. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mama. Happy birthday to you. Excellent. Nice and clean. Good girl. Now we're ready to cook. Hi, everyone. We are back. We are making Thanksgiving heart healthy. We're making the holidays heart healthy for you, and also everyday meals. We want to thank the American Heart Association and Aetna for making this cooking demonstration possible. I got my mama. We talked about it before, 92 years old, going on 16, and she eats well, she eats healthy, and she's done it all her life. And look at, she's reaping the benefits.
I had to. I live in a fine restaurant. Imagine if I have to eat all the cooking that I did. But I used to just do it, they taste it, and I knew exactly the way it was supposed to be.
Mama, besides eating healthy and exercising, how much of staying young is mental? How much of it is having a positive attitude? What are some of your, how can you advise us to live like you?
To be honest, I'm not a psychologist, but
I play one on TV.
But I will tell you the way I eat. And I'm going to say something to the senior. Can I say something?
No.
Well, the thing is this.
She listens to her daughter, you can tell.
You see, when it comes to dessert, and you have a weight on that you like to get rid of it, don't eat the whole portion. Just cut it on a small amount. Or take a bite of it, because you know the taste of it. Once you eat the whole thing, it's all forgotten. It only comes from here to here, and it's all over.
It ends up here.
That's what my mother used to say. She says, darling, she said, you take a spoon and you taste it and stop.
Yeah.
Because he said, once you eat the whole thing, it's going to fit in your hip, in your stomach, and every place, he says, and you cannot get rid of
You
it.
can't get rid of it.
No.
So that Mom has taught me aerobic exercise, and that's try it, push it away.
Exactly.
Try it, push it away. Try it, push it away.
But because you know
Have
how
a
it
buddy. You can have a buddy when you're eating. Have a buddy system, half for you and half for me.
Yeah, but you know exactly how it tasted. Why do you indulge the whole thing?
Right.
You know?
One of the best tips I ever got when you're eating out is before you even order food, is order the to-go box. Have the to-go box, look at what's in front of you, and then just save some for later. Out of sight, out of mind, right, Mom?
I always say that.
Having said that, we have to have dessert. It's the holidays. We got to have dessert, but we can have it and it's good for you. My philosophy is everything that you put in your mouth should be life-giving. Everything you put in your mouth should make your body healthy, right? So what we're doing today is the American Heart Association apple bread pudding. And I'm very excited about it because it's got all kinds of goodies.
Well, everything looks wonderful. I'm sure it's going to come out delicious.
I think so too. So, Mama, let's put together the liquid that's going to go over the bread pudding. So it starts with low fat or skim milk, and that's going to be a cup, and that goes right in the bowl. Okay. So you want to, you can substitute low fat milk for the heavy cream. Not going to notice the difference, and I'll put this right over here. Okay, the next thing is the egg. I happen to have chickens, so I know I've got fresh chickens.
Thank God.
I know, we feed the neighborhood with our chickens. 1 large egg and 1 egg white. So 1 egg and another egg. Save the egg yolk or give it away or throw it away and use the egg white. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is vanilla. Vanilla is such a great flavor enhancer, and it's not adding any calories to it. So that's a teaspoon of vanilla. And now we're going to add some more spices. So this is brown sugar monk fruit sweetener. Mom, we talked about this before. Yes, and you can get it in brown sugar, you can get powdered sugar, and you can get granulated. 0 calories. It doesn't mess with your blood sugar level. So it's really great. It's all natural, as I mentioned. It was grown, it's called monk fruit, because in the 13th century, the monks would actually grow this plant.
What a story.
Yeah. So, Mom, we want to add the sweetener to the bread pudding. So we're adding about 2, I've got 2 tablespoons in there. If you want it sweeter, you can add more. Again, 0 calorie, and it's all natural. So that's great. Now we've got cinnamon, which is a super spice. It's so good for you, so good for your heart. That's 1 teaspoon or 2. No, I would say 1 teaspoon of beautiful cinnamon, Saigon cinnamon. And then this is, you can either use clove or allspice. I find clove to be a little bit too strong and too powerful. So I've got some allspice, and that's a half a teaspoon of allspice.
Yes.
So that's the base for our bread pudding. Mom, you're going to give that a good whisk. Yep. And then while you're doing that, we have prepared some other things that go in the bread pudding. I've got a whole wheat bread. And what you want to do when you're buying your bread is check the label. I've got one that is so low in sodium. It's low in carbs, and it's 80 calories per slice. So this is the Wheat Organic 22 grain and seed. And this is the one that you actually use.
I do. Every day I use that.
So we've got 6 slices of bread, and I've cubed them into about 1/2-inch cubes. And Mom, let's get rid of the whisk and grab your spoon, and I'm just going to dump those right in there. Okay, so let's do that. So that's 6 cubed pieces of good whole wheat bread. Now we've got 3 apples. Can't go wrong with really any apple. I like the Honeycrisp. Mom, what are your favorite apples right now?
Fuji.
The Fuji apples. Yeah, actually, that's what this is here.
And then they have a new one now.
They've got the Honeycrisp, the Gala, the Pink Lady. You've got the Granny Smith if you want to bite, but we're just going with the Fuji here. So it's 3 apples peeled and cored, And then we've got them sliced into small, about 1/2-inch bits, and that's going to go in there. Now, do you notice how nice and white the apples are? So usually they'll turn brown as soon as they hit the air. So what I did is I just soaked them in some water and lemon juice, and I put them in the refrigerator, and they'll stay nice and beautiful. The next thing we're going to do, now you have a choice, Mama. You can have cranberries or you can have golden raisins.
Exactly. But what about if I put half of each?
Oh, you like them both?
Well, I like the raisin and I like the cranberry.
Okay, so let's do, so we want 1/2 cup of either one. So let's go 1/4 cup of cranberries and 1/4 cup of these big, beautiful golden raisins. You can chop them up if you want, or you can soak them. And you could use, dried blueberries, whatever you like. But I think for the holidays, the cranberry and the golden raisins are beautiful. And then, gotta have crunch, right, Mom? We gotta have crunch.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you could do walnuts, pecans, or even almonds. We love walnuts, so I'm just gonna sprinkle some walnuts in there. And that's it. That is your bread pudding. So look at what's in there. Skim milk, an egg and an egg white, some spices like cinnamon, allspice, apples.
I would put a little more raisin.
All things in moderation, my dear. Now you can't have seconds.
Yeah, but you're not adding anything fat in it. So let's put a little sweet.
All right, good, good, good. So now all we have to do is put it in a 9-inch casserole. And you can spray it with a little 0-calorie cooking spray, which we did. I've got the oven heated at 350 degrees. And this is going to cook for about 40 minutes until it's nice and golden brown on top. Look how easy this is and how beautiful and how festive and great for the holidays. You could make this the night before. Let the egg and the milk soak into the bread so it's even more moist. Done. That goes in the oven. All right, let's do that. And
How long does it take to cook?
you got to wait 40 minutes.
I can't wait to taste it.
All right, let's put this in the oven. All right, Mama. I think we have apple bread pudding. Oh, looky, looky, looky.
It looks beautiful.
Look at this.
Now,
Okay, that's what I'll have for Thanksgiving dinner. Nothing else. I think the turkey is just an excuse anyway.
that really
So,
looks wonderful.
so let's look at this. So it's set up really well.
Mm.
So that bread on top is nice and golden and crispy. The apples, you see the apples got a little crispy.
Yeah.
I see your raisins. I see your extra scoop of raisins. You bet.
And
girl.
I can't wait to taste it.
All right, Mama, let's dive in. I'll have you do the honors because we have got to, scientific experiment here. We want you to definitely make sure this is delicious for your Thanksgiving. Be careful, it's hot now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that looks gorgeous. You know what's nice about
Sorry.
bread pudding is it could be a dessert. Watch your fingers there. It could be a dessert or it could be a side, right?
Yeah,
Huh?
exactly.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay.
And the other one?
That looks great. I like the way it just sets up. Look at that. The bread is so nice and moist. I can't wait to try this. Here you go. One for you. One for me. All right. Apple bread pudding. Let's give this a try.
I haven't had apple pudding like this in a long, long time.
Wow. Wow.
Delicious.
That is so good. So the apples,
Taste the spice.
you can taste everything.
Uh-huh.
You can taste the cinnamon. You can taste the vanilla.
Yeah.
The allspice is really subtle, but the cinnamon and the apples add sweetness. It's so moist. Mm-hmm. Mom, what do you think? Would you change anything?
Yes, I would. I will cut the apple smaller as you can. I even suggested that you should grate it on the grater large size.
I like that idea because the apples add the sweetness.
Yeah.
Oh, so you almost want like an applesauce
Exactly.
to add more moisture to the casserole.
Yes.
I like the way the apples look.
And the other one, I will cut the bread as small as you can.
Small chunks. I like that.
This way it will blend and it will be not notable. Right now you can taste the spice by itself and you can chew the apple by yourself and the bread by yourself.
Yeah.
This, what we want is sort of like a cream.
Or you can do half and half. You can, because I like the way the apples look here. So you can do half of the apples chopped really fine, like an applesauce, and then the other ones leave some chunks.
And do the bread.
Do the bread.
Add a little more liquid.
Yep.
Or cut the bread very, very small.
I like this. And so you want to know how many calories it is? So this recipe here serves 4, and each serving 131 calories.
That's
That's one bite of chocolate.
Well, the calories are perfect, but wonderful.
Yeah, and so good for you. Everything in
course,
here
everything.
is so healthy and so delicious. Well, so we've got your roasted vegetables for your sides. We've got a beautiful apple bread pudding for dessert or a side. I think we did good, Mama.
I think so. And I give you 100% on the veggies.
Good, and I give you 100% too. And you know what? We don't have to walk 5 miles after Thanksgiving dinner. If we
Right.
eat like this,
You're
we can
right.
just walk 1 and get our heart rate up, right? Again, Aetna and American Heart Association, thank you so much for letting us do this cooking demonstration for you. There are lots of great recipes that you can have for the holidays and throughout the year. So good job, Mama. It's always fun cooking.
I enjoy being with you, Jen. I enjoy cooking with you.
You know what? I think I want another serving.
Oh, wonderful. Go for it.
I'll bypass the turkey. Good job, Mom.
Yay!
Thank you so much, Jan and Mama. Oh my gosh, loving seeing you guys in the kitchen making a recipe together. I just love desserts that feature fruits, especially apples. I always kind of thought bread pudding was really hard to make, but I think that's definitely something I can try. And from the comments I've been seeing, it looks like there's a lot of folks who are more confident now, willing to try to make a recipe like this.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Corinne, I think Mom's tip was really good about making the apples more of an applesauce, because the first time we made liquid and make it more of an applesauce, and that's give you a little bit more, just a little bit more moisture.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I like your point too, where you mentioned that some of the larger pieces of the apple do look really nice. So the idea of doing half and half of an applesauce with the smaller pieces, and then with the bread, making them smaller as well. And I think to that point, it just kind of shows that with recipes, you can make them and then make some tweaks. Again, it doesn't change the overall content of the recipe. You know, the calories are still 131 calories per serving, which is great, but be able to change the texture a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, vanilla, I always use real pure vanilla, not the imitation, but I was reading Cooks Illustrated last night, which has kind of been my culinary Bible for years. And they did a test and they said that, you know, pure vanilla, of course, is much more expensive than imitation. They said when you bake it off, you really can't tell the difference. So I'm really excited to give that a try this week. I'm going to try both because it is much more expensive. I've never used the imitation. I don't know how our guests that are watching today, if they use imitation versus real, but I'm going to give it a try.
Excellent.
Yeah.
One of our questions said, how much is a serving? And so as you saw on that pan, it said that it's 4 servings. So basically a fourth of that pan. So it looked like what you had dished up on the video, maybe a little bit more is a serving. So it's a pretty good size when it comes to desserts. You mentioned before the taking a bite and pushing it away and taking a bite. I like that because it gets physical activity in as well.
Yeah, and that was
no,
an Italian serving. It's a little different.
And then, you know, science shows that it takes time for our stomachs to feel full and that we tend to eat too quickly. And then by doing that, we overeat and then we feel over full. So not just with desserts, but that idea of taking a bite and savoring it, not just enjoying the taste, will actually help us to eat less because we will be feeling full faster.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we have a question from Carol. She says, Jan, can the recipe be doubled without messing it up? So is this a
Yes.
recipe you think that could be easily doubled? Yes.
Yes, it can. And that's such a great question because there are a lot of recipes that lose in the translation. So if you double something, it doesn't necessarily work, but this one can be doubled, tripled, quadrupled, halved. So I think it's a really good one to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
And it can freeze well too.
Oh, perfect. I was saying we had a question from our previous one about how to store it so that it could be used again. How would you recommend storing it if we had leftovers?
Airtight container. You could freeze it because it's already been baked and everything will thaw out beautifully. So you can do that. And there's so many neat storage containers out there right now. But you know, actually, we tested this recipe quite a bit, and it will stay in the refrigerator for about a week. So you're good to go on that. It's bread, egg, milk. You know, you're good.
Perfect. Then we have Nanette, who is asking about the nutrition facts and just the basics of calories: 132 calories, total fat just 1 gram, cholesterol 32 milligrams, sodium 154. And then, like I said, the whole recipe with all of the details will be emailed just after this class to everybody with all of the additional details. Fiber 5 grams, so a good amount of fiber for something that is traditionally considered a dessert.
I like what Carol just said too, that this is a perfect recipe for leftovers. You can actually do a breakfast with it with coffee. Are you kidding me? A beautiful apple bread pudding in the morning and, you know, re-toast it or heat it up. Ooh, I like that idea a lot. It's good.
Yeah. And the importance too of using a whole grain bread, and that there is variability depending on the kind of whole grain bread that you like. Jan, you and your mom used one with seeds. For some people, if you don't like seeds, you can use one that doesn't have seeds, and you can change kind of the taste and texture a little bit to what you and your family like.
Exactly. Yep.
We have a question about fruit-based desserts. Hear that in general that they're better, but is that really true? Are they better than other desserts when it comes to being healthy?
Corinne, you just cut out on me. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so we hear that fruit-based desserts are healthier. Is that always true? Where do you see when it comes to fruit-based desserts, Jan?
Well, you have to be careful because fruit has a lot of sugar, and it can add up. So I would research what fruits have maybe lower sugar. Strawberries are fantastic. Berries are fantastic. Apples pretty good. Now, if you're using bananas, those are really high in sugar content. And those are the kinds of fruits that can mess with your metabolism. They can mess with your blood sugar. So yeah, I mean, everybody thinks that fruit is healthy, and it is, but again, you have to really be careful about which fruits you're going to go crazy on. And so just kind of keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and the other thing from the Heart Association, we talk about fruits can be better, but it goes to there are a lot of creams and sauces that come with fruit-based desserts, and those can have a lot of extra sugar and calories and things as well. So when it goes to those desserts, to make sure you're paying attention to those creams and sauces that are being added or that you're adding on top yourself.
Yeah, now there's a lot of, there we go, freeze it and make a double batch and freeze it and save some for Thanksgiving. I was just going to say, I've been a dieter all my life, and when I first started going on a diet, there were not a lot of products out there on the market that could help you. But now, and they weren't delicious. You know, when the gluten-free pastas and breads first came out, they were nasty, right? But now you can find products from Walden Farms and all sorts of other companies. Just kind of keep an eye on the nutritional value and the preservatives and all of that. But now you can find sugar-free, calorie-free, fat-free, gluten-free products that are delicious, like caramel sauce and chocolate sauce, that you can drizzle on some of your fruit, and it's not going to add anything. And again, it's not going to mess with your metabolism and your blood sugar. That's what I'm the most concerned about.
And where did you find the brown sugar monk fruit?
You can find the monk fruit at places like Whole Foods, Sprouts. I think that even Safeway Fries, I think they're starting to get savvy about that and they're carrying it. But I found mine at Sprouts and I love it because they have powdered sugar, they have granulated sugar, and they have brown sugar. And it doesn't have that nasty, bitter aftertaste. I'm not a stevia person because I don't like that anise flavor that it imparts. With the monk fruit, it's just sweet and there's 0 calories. It's pretty cool.
Someone had asked about gluten-free. What kind of bread would you recommend for someone who is looking for a gluten-free bread?
Right. I'll tell you what, I really struggle with finding a good gluten-free bread. Believe it or not, Chompy's Bagels has created a gluten-free bagel, which would be fantastic for a bread pudding because it's got the structure, and when you soak it in that milk, it won't fall apart. And they make a really good gluten-free bread, and they've got locations all over. I have a hard time finding a really good gluten-free bread that tastes good. So I don't know, maybe somebody could help me with that too.
I'm going to say, like, definitely can be tricky. For the recipe, you mentioned preserving the apples by soaking them in water and lemon juice. How much water to lemon juice did you use, and what is the recommended maximum amount of time to soak them that way before you're going to use them in a recipe?
Oh, that's a great tip. So you cut your apple up and just put it in a bowl with water, and you could do a half a lemon, squeeze lemon, couple tablespoons, and just make sure that the apples are covered with the water and the lemon juice. So it's that citric acid that is going to prevent the apples from turning brown. And then they from that point on, they will still stay nice and white, and you can keep them in the refrigerator for a couple of days sealed in that water and lemon juice, and they're perfect. Or you could use you could use a 7-Up or a diet 7-Up. Anything with citric acid works really well if you don't want that bite. But when you make an apple pie, you always want a little bit of citrus in there, so the apples are perfect with that little bit of lemon juice.
Awesome, thank you. Someone asked about leaving the apple skins on for extra fiber and nutrients. Would that work for this recipe?
It would. It just, it's just a personal preference. I know that with a lot of like potatoes and apples, a lot of the nutrients are in the skin. And so I think that's perfectly fine. You want to probably chop them up a little bit finer. But yeah, absolutely.
And then couple of comments, with Thanksgiving, there's a lot of stuffing and rolls and potatoes already. So maybe a bread-based dessert might not be the best option. I think it kind of goes back to depending on what you're serving for your Thanksgiving, on what desserts make the most sense for you. But this is definitely an option for families to consider, whether it be for Thanksgiving or for Christmas or for any holiday, or even not holiday. I mean, just the fall, being able to have something that's a hot dessert is something that I think that people enjoy, having a hot dessert this time of year.
Absolutely. I would give up that roll and I would just have a little side of that apple pudding. Then you've got your bread and your sweetness as well. So yeah.
And then we also have talking about reading labels. When we are looking to read at labels, what are the things we should be really looking at when we're trying to eat healthier?
Carbs, I think, making sure that you've got the sodium, I think is super important. I am shocked. We talked last week about whether we should salt things or not, you know, using unsalted butter. And we need salt. Our bodies need salt, but boy, there's so many ingredients that have so much sodium. So I always look for that. I look for good carbs. I look for low carbs. I look for fiber. And then right now, these days, I really look for preservatives, because I do believe that a lot of our medical, physical problems are caused by preservatives. So if you can eat clean as much as you can, cook at home, you know, cook your own ingredients, but just watch those preservatives, because boy, those are just, right? It's scary. It's scary what they put in food.
It is. There's a lot of preservatives and chemicals in foods these days. And so really the first thing is looking at the labels to see what those ingredients are and to see if it's starting with natural foods. And to your point, you know, sodium is a natural preservative, and there are a lot of foods that have a lot of sodium type products in them to preserve them. So being able to try to eat things that are fresh when possible. The Heart Association also recommends that frozen vegetables can be really good, because they are picked and frozen at their peak, and they don't have a bunch of preservatives added. They're usually just, again, you read the package, but a lot of them are just the vegetable. So if you thaw them and you cook them, you can actually still have some. If you don't have access to fresh peas, or you need something that's going to last longer, that you can have some of the frozen ones, and that they are going to be less likely to have preservatives and chemicals compared to canned or other processed.
Yeah, you really changed my mind about that, because you're right. They pick them at the peak of the season when they're just ripe, and then they flash freeze them so they're not losing any nutrients. Whereas if a fresh product sits on the shelf, every day that sits on the shelf, it's losing the nutrients, whether it's the light or just, you know, time. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in some good frozen vegetables, not canned necessarily, but the frozen ones are really good.
You had mentioned before, Jan, when we were talking before the class started, about seasonings and the importance of flavoring foods and how we can do it in healthy ways, and the idea of like a little greenhouse. I was wondering if you could give us some information on that.
Yes, I got so excited about this. This is my very favorite kitchen tip that I can share with anyone. I've been doing this for years. So fresh herbs are a great way to season foods, and a lot of herbs are superfoods. They're just packed with nutrients, so you want to do that. But they're expensive, right? If you don't have a garden, basil is expensive, rosemary is expensive, all of that. And the recipe generally requires maybe a tablespoon or two. And then what do you do with it, right? It sits in your bin in the refrigerator and it rots. So I'm going to show you how to create a greenhouse in your refrigerator with fresh herbs. And I actually put one together. I've had this one going in my refrigerator for weeks. So this is what your greenhouse is going to look like. I've got a glass here with water, and I've got my herbs in here. Now I covered it with a Ziploc bag, and I've got a rubber band here. And if you can see the condensation, do you see what's happening here? There's beads of water. And what that does is that's creating a greenhouse effect. And I'm going to just take the rubber band off, and I'm going to lift off. See all the water in that? That is just keeping your vegetables fresh. Okay, I've got, there's nothing like fresh vegetables, fresh herbs. I've got basil. I've got cilantro. I've got rosemary. I've got parsley. You can use anything you want, anything that you cook with, and you can keep them all in the, so my water's up to here. You can all cook them, store them in the same glass. This right here will last in your refrigerator for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and they will look exactly like this. All you're going to do is pluck off what you need. Look at this. This is incredible. These are weeks and weeks old. I don't even change the water. You definitely could. The secret here, so you're going to pluck off your vegetables or your herbs, and then immediately put your Ziploc bag back on, seal it at the bottom with a rubber band, put it right in your refrigerator. This takes up no room at all in your refrigerator, and you have fresh herbs at your disposal anytime you want. I love this idea because you're not wasting any money. You're always getting fresh herbs, and is it simple? Isn't that so easy?
Yeah, that is so simple. And when we have recipes, like buying the fresh herbs, it's hard because I get all this extra, and to your point, I then put it in the bin and it's rotten, and then I don't get to use it. So then I think to myself, I'm wasting my money, so I should not get the fresh. But this is a great idea, and I love the fact that you can combine all of them into the same jar and keep them together. So,
yes. And it makes you happy. You know, you open up your refrigerator and you see this beautiful greenhouse. Now, what you want to do is make sure and give it about 2 or 3 inches at the top. So you're creating that condensation. So give that a try. I can't wait for everybody that I've ever told has done this, and they love the fact that they last so long. People go, they really last that long? And they do. They'll last for months. Yeah.
I was saying we have Allison, who said that you can do that with asparagus also to help asparagus to last longer, which is great to know. And
What
someone
a great
was saying broccoli.
idea.
Yeah.
What a great idea. I did not even think about that. Yeah, asparagus, because sometimes it's hard to find asparagus. And when you find the ones that you really love, you want to buy them, but you don't necessarily use them up right away. So that is a great tip. Love that.
That's great. A question about the recipe. Does rice work well for the recipe? Could you use rice in that recipe?
Instead of the bread?
Maybe.
Yeah.
She didn't specify, but what do you think?
I think, well, it'd be like rice pudding, right? You may need a little bit more liquid, maybe. But I actually really love that idea because I love cinnamon with the rice and the allspice and then the egg. And I don't see why not. I think that could be very, very cool. In fact, I'm going to give that a try. I like that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Any other questions? Lots of great comments in the chat box. Love the suggestions. Excited about the greenhouse that I get to try. Also love the idea of preserving apples. I know that's one of the things that I've always found very frustrating is that once you cut an apple, it just starts turning brown and it doesn't look good. And I mean, it tastes fine, but it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, and you know what I do, Corinne, is I have my water bowl with the lemon juice already done before I even start cutting the apple. And that way it goes right from chopping it to the bowl. And
that's a great point. But there's no time wasted at all even getting it ready.
Right, exactly.
Perfect. We have Martha who wants more classes. So this is the last class for this current session, but we are talking about coming back in the spring. So if that is, or the beginning of the new year. So if that is something people are wanting, we would love to come back and have some more classes and to bring healthy cooking to your guys' homes, whether it be the holidays or in the new year, and having recipes that are focused on the things that are available right now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's all the questions. Yes, Jen?
Do we have time for a really quick story?
We do.
Okay, so my mama is from Venice, and she is from, the old country, and she grew up in World War II and right outside of Venice, and they grew everything. They had their chickens, their cows, and so we went to a very fancy hoity-toity event one time, she and I. We were invited to dinner where all these chefs were cooking for us. And one of the chefs gave us some pea soup, and he put something on it. My mom said, "What is that?" He said, "Oh, that's gray salt." And she said, he goes, "It's very exclusive and very expensive." And he walked away, and I looked at her, and she was rolling her eyes. I said, "Mom, that's so rude. Why are you rolling your eyes?" She goes, "Gray salt? When I was a little girl, my mom would give me 2 buckets, send me to the ocean. I'd scoop up the water. We would pour them in the horse trough, let it evaporate for 3 days, and that was gray salt." She goes, "So don't tell me that's exclusive." I laugh so hard because what's trendy, our parents, our grandparents, they grew up with these kinds of things, and now you're paying, what, $18 for a quarter ounce of gray salt. I just love that story.
You know what? It's such a good reminder about the things that are trendy now.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
expense, like that, again, a few days, a couple months from now will not be, and something else that we took for granted will be the cool thing to be adding. So that's, I don't know if I want horse trough salt though.
I know. But, and you know what? We don't want to, we always like to mess with Mother Nature and God, right? So I went to the store the other day and I saw that, I'm sure you've all seen these grapes that taste like candy,
Cotton candy grapes.
cotton candy. I'm thinking, really? Did God not do a good enough job with grapes? You have to make them taste like cotton candy. We just can't seem to engineer things, you know, we have to just keep engineering. But as long as it's pure and good and healthy that we're putting it in our mouth, I think we're fine.
Yes, and that's how we can then live as long as Mama and be as healthy, is keep eating those healthy things. Thank you so
Amen.
much again, Jan, for sharing your cooking
Absolutely.
tips with us and joining us. Thank you again to Aetna Medicare Solutions for helping to make this Cooking with Heart for Active Adults class possible. We're so grateful to have your support in providing nutrition education to the community. After we conclude today, all attendees are going to receive an email from the Heart Association thanking you for participating. Included will be the recipe for apple bread pudding and a link to the feedback survey. Please take a couple of minutes to complete the survey for us. Let us know what you liked about today, what we can do better next time when we look to do more sessions. Before we go, we have one last video to share to help inspire you as we head out into the weekend.
Our son is studying pre-med. He told me walking was a way to keep my brain and heart healthy. He's a smart kid. So I took his advice, went outside, and got moving again. I even started a weekend walking club with some of the other moms from the neighborhood. I'm walking more than I have in years and feeling better than ever. Enjoying another 40 years with my family and friends. That's why I'm choosing to stay active.
We hope you enjoyed our session today and you feel more confident as you head into the holiday season. Thank you again, everyone. Have a wonderful day and happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone. Mwah.